Hey everyone, and welcome to my channel. In this video I was thinking to show you how I painted this lightning in a dark sky. All the materials I will be using in this video are listed down in the description box, so make sure you check it out. When I saw a couple of photos of lightnings, I thought this could be fun to paint and not really difficult, not even for beginners. So I decided to do this tutorial to practice painting the sky and layering, and also some transitions between different colors. So let's get to it. I'm starting off with drawing my sketch, and for that I'm using just a regular pencil and drawing where my lightning is going to be and how it's going to move. And as you can see, I'm doing wiggly lines, and because the lightning is like that, it goes in wiggly lines and it spreads on all the sides and in a couple of places. So you can also do your lightning the way you like it. You don't have to make it exactly the same as mine, but if you do, of course, be my guest, do whatever you feel, whatever you like. After finishing with my sketch, I will use a masking marker, and this is a fine tip masking marker. Its tip is 1 to 2 millimeters, so very fine tip and makes very thin lines. And if you do not have a masking marker, you can of course use a masking fluid and place a masking fluid on your lines. And if you don't have the masking fluid either, you can just leave it for now, your sketch, just leave it for now, and when we finish with our sky, you can add white gouache to it, or maybe make your lightning with a white gel pen. As you will see later on, I will also use white gouache and white gel pen to add some highlights on my lightning. I'm also now drawing the line where my city is going to be, because at the bottom of my painting I want to add some couple of buildings, lights, to make an impression that there is actually a city there. For the first layer I pre-wetted the entire paper with the clean water, and now I'm placing in the corners indigo, and I'm using indigo from a tube because, well, I will need a lot of pigment, and I think I will easier pick it up if it's from the tube than from a pen. But of course, if you don't have a tube, only pens, you can by all means do it with the indigo color from the pen. You just need to pick up a lot of color and place it on your palette, because we do want this part to be fairly saturated and we will need a lot of pigment. And most of the times I myself also use watercolors from a pen and not from the tube, but when I do need a lot of pigment and I know that I will make my painting very saturated, I do use watercolors from tube because, well, their creamy consistency makes it easier to use a lot more color, and it does take a lot less elbow grease to get it out of the tube than out of the pen. As you could have noticed, I'm painting the darkest parts of my painting, and that is going to be the lower part, lower corners, right upper corner, and somewhere around the middle part. Those are going to be the darkest parts of my sky. And the part on the left side I'm painting now with the mix of Mother Lake Red Light and Ultramarine, and with that combination of colors I got that beautiful, well, somewhat violet color, and I really love it, and I think it goes perfectly with indigo. And the part beneath my middle part of the painting, it will be left a little bit lighter, because that part is actually the part that is going to look like there is just that it's under the cloud and it is lightened by the lightning. I'm also adding just a little bit of cadmium yellow medium just under the cloud. Right now I'm picking up some paint with my brush. I rinse it into water and dried it on my towel, and with almost a dry brush I'm just now picking up the paint just to make an impression that there are some rays going under the clouds. After the paint completely dried, we're going in with our second layer, and this time I did not pre-wet the paper, but I'm just painting wet on dry. That is also the way to get a little bit more saturated color, because if you pre-wet your paper and then paint on a wet paper, your colors will be slightly diluted by the water that is on your paper. And this time I wanted to stay very vibrant, and I want to do as less layer as I can. So that is the way I'm actually doing it and actually achieving that the colors look a little bit more saturated. That is also the way to avoid picking up the paint from your previous layer, because especially if you're using cellulose watercolor paper, you will, by pre-wetting, you will pick up a little bit paint from it and risk for your colors to be a little bit more dull and mudded. By skipping the step of pre-wetting your paper when it's not necessary, you will avoid that risk. I'm repeating all the steps that I did in the first layer and just adding the same color in the same places that I did painting my first layer. Just keep in mind that the part nearest to the lightning will always be a little bit lightened by that lightning, and it will be a little bit brighter and lighter. So that is also the part where I'm leaving most of my whites of the paper peeking through. Since watercolors do dry lighter than they are when wet, I decided to do also a third layer because I found it to be too light for my preference when I finished the second layer and when it dried. You can of course do as many layers as you feel like, and if you think you should do 3 layers, you should do 3. If 2 layers is enough for you, you should just do 2. And in this third layer, again repeating all the steps that I did in my previous 2. But this time I added just a little bit of neutral black to my indigo. After the paint dried from my third layer, I'm just peeling off the masking fluid, and for that I'm using my fingers. And right now with an old fizzled brush, that's just an old flat brush, ruined flat brush, I'm adding some white gouache to the part nearest to my lightning, because I want that part to stand out even more, to be more bright. So I'm just adding a little bit of white gouache and then later on just smudging it around that lightning. I'm also adding a little bit of white gouache just under my cloud, because I also want that part to be a little bit lighter and to stand out a little bit more. as I mentioned earlier, I'm now also with a script brush that is just actually perfect liner brush for me. I love it the most, but if you don't have a script brush, you can of course use any round brush with a pointy tip. And I'm adding a little bit of highlights to my lightning, and same thing I'm doing with a white gel pen. So I just wanted to show you that it can be done with white gouache or with a white gel pen, whatever you have. And if you did not have a masking fluid and place it on your lines, that is actually the time. Now is the time to paint your lightning with a white gouache or white gel pen, or maybe even a white marker if that is what you have. I have mixed cadmium yellow medium with white gouache because I wanted to make it a little bit more opaque, and with that color I'm now painting my city. As I said earlier, I want it to be in the bottom of my lightning, as if the lightning is hitting that city. So I'm just using a script brush and white gouache mixed with the cadmium yellow medium to paint that city. And I'm not really trying to paint the buildings or anything particular, but just topping in the color, maybe some dots to mimic the lights from the buildings, and just to make an impression that there is city there. And also I'm using a white gel pen for adding some difference and some interest to that city. Right now I added a little bit of cadmium red light to my mix of yellow and white gouache, and adding also to my city. I decided to add some cloudy shapes in the upper part of my lightning, well, to make it more interesting. So right now I'm just topping in with that flat brush mix of ultramarine and Mother Lake red light to make it look like there are some clouds there, and under my cloud I'm adding just a little bit of neutral black. And with a couple of details, I'll be finishing off this painting and of course this video. Thank you all a lot for watching and for sticking till the end and supporting me. I really do appreciate that. And if you do like this video, please like, share, comment, tell me what you like, what you didn't like. And if you haven't still, please subscribe to my channel and don't forget to hit the notification bell, because that is the way you'll get notified about my new videos, and make sure that you don't miss any of them in the future. Well, without further ado, I hope I'll see you next time. Bye!